as the faint glimmer of dawn stretches across the horizon, you sense the hush that hovers between night and day. A gentle breeze brushes the leaves, and every blade of grass seems to pause in reverent attention. In this sacred hush, you are invited to lay aside yesterday's burdens and feel how the earth itself exhales. Close your eyes for a moment, noticing the quiet rhythm of your pulse, the soft rise and fall of your breath, the way the early air settles upon your skin like silk. These are not random sensations. They are subtle reminders that your heart was designed for calm, for tranquil depth, for contemplative pause. You can picture a smooth lake before sunrise, its surface unruffled by wind or oar. That mirrored water is a reflection of the steady center, already planted in your soul. Negative thoughts cannot cling to a mind that sinks deep into such calm. Invite the morning's hush to sift through your memories, in each anxious fragment drift away like mist above the waterline. Now, take a few seconds to inhale the fragrance of dew, exhale the disquiet of yesterday, and rest in this present hush. Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. In this single sentence, you discover a doorway to composure. Acknowledging divine presence is itself a release of tension. Through still acceptance, you allow a larger strength to envelop your mind. Pushing aside every racing worry, each unhurried breath, you cultivate spaciousness in your thoughts. Think of the open sky, wide, boundless, untouched by storm, however fierce the downpour beneath. You are more than the restless weather of your emotions. You are the expansive horizon that contains them without being shaken. Unwanted notions whisper that you are not enough. You can let their voices echo across a great valley, losing volume until they fade. Negative chatter cannot thrive in a landscape so vast and bright. The risen sun gradually tints the clouds from gray to rose, signaling that darkness never possesses the final word. Likewise, intrusive memories may linger, yet their shadows shrink beneath the certainty of illumination. You can linger in observation, notice how each luminous ray lifts color out of dullness, and imagine beams of mercy touching every corner of your reasoning. In this gentle awareness, harsh inner dialogue has no footing. Such thoughts depend on your agitation. Remove the agitation, and their grip dissolves. Allow the hush around you to become the hush within you. Hear the muffled chirp of an early bird deep in the hedgerow. Feel the hush inside that note, the gap between each trill. Those pockets of quietude are invitations to humility, an admission that you do not sustain creation, yet the Creator sustains you. Secure in that realization, you can relinquish the urge to control what evades control. You can disentangle expectation from reality, discovering contentment in the very space where desire once wrestled. Negative thoughts frequently masquerade as protectors, warning you of failure or rejection. Yet they imprison the same heart they claim to shield. When you settle into still repose, you see through their disguise. You realize that safety rooted in anxiety is brittle. True refuge springs from confidence in something steady and unwavering. Let the first light remind you, sun rises without your assistance, and so the author of light is capable of uplifting your spirit without frantic striving. Inhale slowly once more. Picture golden beams sweeping across distant fields, awakening silent growth. As photosynthesis begins, invisible energy courses through leaves, preparing fruit you will not taste until months from now. This hidden process mirrors the unseen transformation of your mind. Quiet fosters growth no eye can measure yet. You yield to stillness, seeds of courage germinate beneath the surface, pushing tiny roots into fertile soil, readying to break ground at the appointed season. Hold that image. The calm you nurture this morning is not mere inactivity. It is the silent workshop where your resilience is forged. As you sit in calm awareness, negative projections lose substance, becoming silhouettes against the greater brilliance. They cannot cast shadows if you remain positioned inside the source of light. Conclude this section by breathing out one lingering trail of tension. Notice the crow distant on a telephone line, wings tucked, awaiting warmth. You too may gather patience, trusting the coming glow to thaw every cold worry. Whisper softly, "Stillness is my shield." Feel those words settle like gentle snowfall upon restless soil, covering it with restorative quiet. A new melody enters the morning, tender beams kiss rooftops, and sparrows burst into song, weaving simplicity through the fabric of sunrise. You stand at the threshold of the day, and choice greets you like a faithful companion. You can cling to worry. You can place your confidence on a foundation that will not crumble. Trust is not blind. It is a deliberate turning toward what has proven reliable across centuries of dawns. Consider the river coursing through a forest glen. Stones do not tell it where to go, still, it finds its course. Fallen branches attempt to hinder the flow. Yet the water neither frets nor flails. It enfolds obstacles, moving onward with tranquil force. Picture your thoughts as that river, guided by a higher incline toward oceans of meaning, regardless of temporary blocks. You can surrender tight fists of control, trading clench for flow, tension for graceful movement. Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. These words sketch a map for your journey. Relinquish self-reliance. Adopt wholehearted dependence. Straight paths are not always smooth, yet they are unbroken, leading you beyond the briar of confusion into open plains of clarity. Faith blossoms through repeated choice rather than single declaration. Each time anxious forecast floods your mind with catastrophic images, you redirect attention to constancy. You do so as a gardener discards weeds daily, believing harvest will exceed the labor of removal. As negative notions attempt resurgence, remember trust is an evergreen root beneath seasonal doubt. It draws unseen nourishment, supplying sap to tomorrow's leaves. Reflect on the eagle perched upon a cliff. Before flight, it does not question whether the current will hold. It simply opens wings, designed for uplift. You too are designed to rest upon stronger wings than your own comprehension. You can whisper, "Guide me," and feel the response in subtle ways, a calm conviction rising in your chest, a sudden memory of past deliverance, a scripture echoing at the edge of awareness. Confidence does not require complete clarity about future events. It requires confidence in the one who stands beyond time, seeing the tapestry already completed. Picture a weaver passing shuttle through loom. Each thread might appear chaotic to the untrained eye, yet step back and grand symmetry emerges. Your mind glimpses only individual threads, yet trust peers through the weaver's window, catching hints of pattern. Acknowledging that vantage hushes the clamor, insisting you decipher every twist beforehand. Doubts slip in like uninvited guests. You can greet them with a gentle nod, neither wrestling nor entangling conversation. Offer them no refreshments. Simply guide them to the exit by rehearsing earlier moments when providence did not fail you. Catalog small mercies. The unexpected smile of a stranger, the job you feared losing yet kept, the illness from which you recovered. Each memory becomes another stone in a bridge of recollection, allowing you to cross turbulent waters of today's fears. Delight, even in fragile measure, is a fruit of trust. The flower does not strain to become radiant. It absorbs sunlight, drinks rain, and beauty follows. Similarly, delight arises without forced effort when your soul leans on unwavering goodness. You may feel its trace in the lightness of your shoulders or in a spontaneous laugh at an ordinary blessing. Negative thoughts scatter before such glad ease, for they thrive only where strain dwells. Perhaps storms have taught you caution, and caution masquerades as wisdom. Yet wisdom unfettered by faith becomes suspicion. Suspicion breeds cynicism, and cynicism darkens perception. You can avoid that slide by making a conscious exchange. Trade suspicion for discernment, fear for confidence. Discernment acknowledges storm clouds, yet expects the rainbow already bent behind them. Whisper within, "Untrust this day." Let the phrase drift upward like a skylark riding warm currents. Wherever it lands, tranquility follows. Feel trust seep into joints once stiff with dread, into memories still tender with regret. Release them. Allow faith to infuse your thoughts with gentle vigor that outshines any internal critic. Sunlight now blankets hillsides in golden embroidery, revealing patterns of life previously hidden in shadow. Renewal is stitched into creation, sap coursing through branches after winter, buds unfurling when warmth returns, tides ebbing only to surge again at the moon's silent command. You too carry cycles of fatigue and resurgence. At times discouragement seems permanent, yet dawn repeats its lesson. Sank into gloom may rise with a bright-colored banner of resilience. Picture a field after rainfall. Earlier it looked muddy, perhaps unremarkable, but beneath that softened earth seeds awakened. Likewise, tears you shade in seasons of heaviness moisten soil for fresh growth. You can view each sorrow as irrigation rather than flood. Negative thoughts argue that pain dissolves purpose. Truth reminds you that sorrow can deepen capacity for empathy and broaden channels for compassion. Isaiah 40:a. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Hope is not passive longing. It is active expectation joined to divine promise. The verse presents escalating pictures. Soar, run, implying that whether you triumph, persevere, or simply continue, revitalization is available. Close your eyes and sense invisible thermals lifting your weary spirit. Imagine that each discouraging notion weighs less than a feather compared to currents of grace surrounding you. You do not need to push against the air. You yield to its upward force. In this yielding, fatigue falls away. Energy, once drained by mental skirmishes, flows back into sinews of intention. Renewal often begins with gratitude. Consider the humble blade of grass. It does not envy the towering cedar, yet both share sunlight. You recognize the modest and the grand as equally gifted. Comparison's poison loses power. Whisper thanks for steady breath, for joints that carry you, for morning aromas of baking bread or damp earth. Each acknowledgement is a spark. Gather them and watch how they kindle inner fire. You can practice mental pruning by naming each recurring lie that dwarfs your confidence. You'll never overcome. You always fail. Joy is for others. Visualize snipping those vines with sharp shears of truth. Removal allows latent strength to receive fuller radiance. If they attempt regrowth, your renewed clarity detects them quickly, cutting off their supply of darkness. Let renewal instruct your posture. Shoulders back, lift chin toward the horizon. Such simple alignment signals the nervous system to release tension. It is easier to stand rooted when spine lengthens. Your backbone, both literal and figurative, is fashioned for upright living, not crouched resignation. In the forest, new shoots arise where shafts of light penetrate canopy gaps. Create such openings in your schedule. Brief pauses to breathe, short walks, minute, long stretches, single lines of reflection. Small windows invite brilliance. They accumulate into skylights through which robust vitality streams. Over time, negative patterns, once intricate webs, dissolve under consistent brightness. Renewal also manifests in purpose. Energy resurfaces. Direct it toward acts that mirror kindness. Speak encouragement to a colleague. Feed a stray animal. Send a message of appreciation. Action becomes an outward echo of inner restoration. The mind fortified by service repels intrusive negativity. It is too occupied sowing good seed to cultivate despair. Feel your pulse rhythmic reliable, a gentle drum reminding you that life persists. Each beat is an unopened envelope containing potential. Open the envelope by aligning attention with opportunity. Even mundane tasks glitter when perceived through renewed eyes. Washing dishes becomes a liturgy of cleansing. Answering emails a traversal of connection, commuting an expedition through layers of sunrise. Before leaving this section, hold in imagination an eagle suspended above mountain valleys. It darts, then glides, expending energy only when necessary, trusting invisible columns to keep it aloft. Let that image accompany you, a living metaphor that your spirit is designed to cooperate with unseen empowerment. With such partnership, negative assumptions lose legitimacy. Renewal overrides them with living proof. The morning matures into mid-morning, sunlight steadier, colors clearer. With strength restored, you turn to guidance for the route ahead. Beyond maps or predictions, inner tranquility becomes your compass, pointing true north. Despite shifting circumstances, anxiety distorts vision. Serenity clarifies horizon lines. Peace, like a gentle river stone warmed by sun, rests in your palm to remind you which path calms, which detours agitate. Philippians 4:7. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Transcendent calm is described not as fragile feeling, but as sentry, an active guardian. Understanding might falter, yet this sovereign tranquility stands watch, repelling intrusive chaos. You can treat calmness as an internal sentinel. When unease approaches, picture doors closing quietly yet firmly, leaving turmoil outside. The sentinel is constant. Your role is to heed its counsel, rather than override it with fearful hypotheticals. If confusion arises about which task to choose or which conversation to begin, pause long enough to feel which option carries quiet assurance. The wiser decision may not appear most logical, it resonates with harmony in your chest. Imagine walking through a grove of tall pines. Needled branches hush the wind to a soft sigh. Sunbeams pattern the path with lace of light and shadow. In such a grove, noise from distant roads fades. Soundscape of your mind can resemble this grove when you prioritize tranquility. Conversations, headlines, opinions may swirl at society's edge, yet within the shaded sanctuary, you hear your shepherds whisper clearly. Negative thoughts rarely shout truth, they hiss rumor. Rumor feeds unrest, unrest veils perception. Guarded by calm, you detect rumor's distortion sooner, refusing to grant it residence. Peace fends off negativity by occupying the mental space rumor requires. Two masters cannot reign within one chamber. Choose the governor of quiet confidence and the usurper of dread exits. You can cultivate serenity through rhythm, breath counting, slow sipping of tea, deliberate observation of a single leaf. Rhythm entrains heartbeats to steadiness. The brain, calmed by repetition, seizes excessive alertness, and you return to balanced watchfulness. Balanced watchfulness distinguishes between real hazards and imagined peril, thus liberating creative problem solving. Let your mind consider the compass rose. Its fixed north ensures correct orientation, no matter how many degrees you turn. Similarly, if you wander, inward stillness recalibrates direction. You cannot travel so far into distraction that returning compass lines vanish. They remain etched on the soul. Negativity claims you are lost beyond retrieval. Recall this guarantee and look for the needle's quiet pivot back to home. Take a moment to hear distant birds calling, each note crisp against broad silence. Those sharp notes demonstrate how sound cuts through calm without shattering it. Likewise, truth may confront illusions, yet never disturbs serenity. It belongs to the same harmony. Permit piercing insight to arrive, exposing harmful thinking, yet trust peaceful guardianship to hold the space intact. If obligations crowd the coming hours, create micro-oses, a whispered prayer between meetings, a single verse repeated while waiting at a stoplight, a conscious exhale before answering the phone. These small wells of repose, scattered like dew drops into a stream guiding the mind. Peaceful flow channels effort efficiently. Anxious rapids waste vitality swirling in eddies of doubt. Should discouraging voices rise again, mind yourself they offer direction only toward despair. Turn instead toward the compass of assurance. Follow the arrow pointing toward value, connection, creativity, grace. Each step along that heading strengthens your capacity to disregard inner clamor. Soon the clamorous din resembles faint chatter beyond mountain ranges. Now whisper, "Your tranquility leads me." Allow those syllables to reverberate softly behind your sternum, anchoring you in steady poise and unmistakable navigation. As midday approaches with full brilliance, you embark upon the path shaped by trust and guided by calm. Walking with God is not reserved for altar or anthem. It is the cadence of ordinary steps aligned with extraordinary companionship. Every hallway, crosswalk, and corridor becomes sacred ground when you acknowledge divine presence at your side. Psalm 37:23. The Lord makes firm the steps of the one who delights in him. Steadiness is promised not for perfect efforts, but for delighted relationship. Each movement sanctioned by glad awareness gains stability beyond personal skill. You can envision a traveler beside a gentle shepherd along rolling hills. Footprints alternate. Yours lighter, shepherd's deep. Yet the pace remains unified. Negative thoughts attempt to scatter your stride. Linked fellowship steadies rhythm. In conversation with this unseen companion, silence becomes shared language, and every breath is response. Walking implies progress. Even when speed is slow, still you advance. The desert wanderer reaches oasis by placing one foot forward repeatedly. You may face arid circumstances, financial strain, relational tension, health uncertainty. Yet each incremental step in faithful direction diminishes the desert's breadth. Negativity says the sands never end. Truth shows distant palm tops shimmering at the horizon. The path will include varied terrain, forest shade, rocky climbs, smooth meadow. In thick woods, vision shortens. You trust the one who sees above treetops. On stone ridges, footing feels uncertain. You grip stronger handrails of promise. Through open field, momentum grows. You celebrate without presumption, remembering source. Constant mindfulness transforms root variety into a tapestry of shared adventure rather than a sequence of threats. Consider conversation throughout the day. You can transform mundane dialogue into prayerful exchange by silently framing each response. Guide these words. Thus, a casual greeting becomes a seed of encouragement. A difficult meeting becomes a chance to embody patience. Walking with God means nothing remains purely secular. Everything shimmers with potential to unveil compassion. Intrusive memories surface like potholes. You step over them by reaffirming purpose. I carry hope. The baby stirred by hope cannot coexist with crippling rumination. Momentum overshadows inertia. It is difficult for stagnant despair to arrest a soul in motion. Movement itself becomes deliverance. Practice noticing beauty as you walk, the way sunlight refracts through a glass of water, low hum of bees orbiting blossoms, the laughter you overhear on a crowded bus. Beauty rivets attention to benevolence woven into mundane hours. Awareness of such wonders disarms negativity, proving the world remains infused with delight. Walking also enlists community. You stride alongside friends, family, colleagues, strangers. See each companion as reflection of the divine, and let that perception mold your treatment of them. Generation of kindness toward others returns to soften your interior monologue. Because the same voice you use outward eventually becomes the voice speaking inward. Speaking blessings outward trains you to speak blessing inward. Near the close of this segment, pause beneath any available patch of blue sky. Lift your face, not to search for signs, but to experience the immediate warmth that kindly streams upon cheek and brow. Whisper, "Wide my steps." Feel that warmth transform into inner conviction that guidance is ongoing. Assurance propel you into remaining tasks with light gait and fearless anticipation. The afternoon glow, mellowed into golden, hush signals the approach of conclusion. A day begun in stillness, strengthened through trust, buoyed by renewal, steered by serenity, and animated by companionship, now draws near its next transition. Evening will eventually tint the western horizon, yet before shadows lengthen, you pause to seal the experience in deliberate quiet. Numbers 6 and 24-26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. Lord, turn his face toward you and give you peace. These words, ancient yet undiminished, bestow not fleeting goodwill, but enduring favor. They encircle both heart and mind with radiant guardianship, leaving no corridor for corrosive rumination. You can let each phrase of that benediction settle like twilight petals upon fields just harvested. Blessing covers what has been accomplished and what remains unfinished, assuring you that value does not rely solely on completed tasks. Grace whispers that even imperfections participate in artistry beyond immediate sight. Negative thoughts strive to highlight shortcomings. Divine favor reveals hidden beauty within the process. Imagine gentle waves lapping a shore at low tide. Every breaker polishes stones until sharp edges turn smooth. Likewise, benevolent presence smooths your rough anxieties, leaving polished patience, honed empathy, and lustrous wisdom. You need not accelerate the tides. Their rhythm is sufficient. Accordingly, you need not force serenity. Benediction itself is power, executed in perfect measure. Now release each worry still clinging. Envision handing them like pebbles to a tide that pulls them into limitless sea. As the water recedes, your palm is empty. Wide calm remains. Feel shoulders loosen, brows unfurl, jaw unclench. The hush you cultivated returns for one final embrace, preparing you to carry stillness into every corridor of evening. Before closing, offer a gentle wish for others. May those I meet discover quiet hope. When generosity flows outward, you discover fresh reservoir within. Peace multiplies through sharing. It never diminishes. If this message awakens you, feel free to share hope with someone who needs it. A short blessing settles now upon your spirit. May tranquil truth guard your mind, and may dawning light forever banish night within.